Well, birthdays, anniversaries ahead, but right now, News Extra time, and brought to you by Jolliffe Funeral Home. Here's Kevin Mooney.
Thank you, Dennis, and good morning, everyone. And our guests today are some folks from who live over in New Hampshire, but are here in Gering to do a program over at the Gering First United Methodist Church this coming Sunday at 9:30 a.m. The Fanny Crosby story, and our guests are Reverend Ann Partner Nelson and her husband John, who is a co-presenter and narrator of the program. And Mrs. Nelson has spent 35 years as a United Methodist pastor. And you were going to do a story about a presentation about Fanny Crosby, and tell folks who Fanny Crosby is.
Fanny Crosby is one of the most beloved Protestant hymn writers. She began writing hymns in 1864 and never stopped. She wrote more than 8,000 hymns and is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for having written more than anyone. And but she was blind from the age of 6 weeks, and she was born in 1820 and died in 1915.
Wow, and she was, and she just, I saw the book of hymns. It's an incredible number of hymns.
Yes, it is.
And you guys got that book. Where did you get that book from? Because that book dates back almost a couple hundred years. John, maybe John knows where you got that book.
Good morning. We were visiting a church in Maine, and places that we visit and present the program, I like to nose around in the choir lofts and look at old hymnals. And I came across this old book, and lo and behold, in the back pages was some news clippings that a woman who had owned the book had put in there, and so the church members presented us the book, and we're privileged to have it.
All right. Let me have Ann talk about obviously 35 years as a pastor. Kind of give me a little bit about your biography and how you kind of started this program that you said this is going to be your 32nd presentation. So you do it quite a bit over in New Hampshire, and you're doing it in here because you have a relative, right?
Yes, I have a relative, my cousin Starr, and also Starr Lehl, and my aunt is Mary Ellen Pato, who lives in Scottsbluff. So it will be lovely to be with them over these days. Yes, well, I began planning for Fanny Crosby and writing monologues about her in 1985, and during that time, Fanny Crosby Sunday was held on the Methodist calendar, and as it had been since 1905 when she was 85, and it was a national Fanny Crosby Sunday. And so our superintendent invited all of us to do a Fanny Crosby Sunday and sing her hymns and tell her story. And so that's when it began. And then in 2007, the ladies from our church wanted a special program, and so I thought, well, I can costume and tell Fanny's story. So we began in April of 2007, and then again gave it in 2008, and then we have had Fanny on the road since then.
Yeah, and you've done, like you said, a lot of presentations all over in New Hampshire and back east.
Yes.
And then this will be then you've done one in Wheat Ridge, Colorado.
That's next week.
That's next week. And you're going some other places. So you kind of take this on the road quite a bit, huh?
Yes, we do. We enjoy taking it on the road. We meet so many nice people, and one of the things we've done, which we're very happy to share about, is that Fanny was very much involved in the inner city missions in the late part of the 19th century, and she lived in New York City, and she would go to the Bowery Mission and other inner city missions, and she would share the gospel, and she would pray with people, and so it was a great honor for us to be invited to participate in the 100th anniversary of the Bowery Missions Chapel back in 2009, and then we also visited the successor to Fanny's school, which is the New York Institute for Special Education, where we got to talk to a class of children.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have Ann and John talk about exactly what is in the program and so forth. And again, we'll give you the date, which is this coming Sunday, 9:30, over at the First United Methodist Church in Gering. We'll do all that kind of stuff right after this break.
Comforting, personal, Jolliffe Funeral Home. Let Jolliffe
Very
Funeral
good. You
Home
guys
help
doing
you
good.
honor those you love when they've passed. With unmatched service and artistry,
yeah.
our team will
This is
help
a
you
real
carry
honor
on the
for us.
legacy
Oh.
of your
This is the
family
first
members
time
and
we've been on
friends.
the radio.
With
Oh,
our
really? This is the first time, huh?
we
Well, you're doing really good
offer
for being the
personal
first
attention to
time.
every detail
There are a lot of
the
people
planning
that
process.
come in here,
We
they're all
also
nervous,
offer
and you just
advanced
kinda-
planning as a continuation to our services. That's Jolliffe
Doing very
Funeral
well.
Home.
You've
never had that problem with me.
No, never have that problem with Starr.
No, we're really kind of actors, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. We call ourselves itinerant thespians.
All right, we are back on News Extra, and we are very pleased to have Ann and John Nelson here. They're from New Hampshire, and Ann has been 35 years as a United Methodist pastor, and they put on a show called The Fanny Crosby Story, and it's going to be over at the Gering United Methodist Church, 9:30 on this Sunday. Now, I know John is part of it. Maybe I should ask John to kind of tell us your part, and then we'll let Ann talk about, I assume she dresses in costume and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, I am the narrator of the program, and often we, when we're visiting places, we feel very honored to be asked to do this program, and I like to have people know that it's not about us, it's about the Fanny Crosby story that we present. A very amazing woman. And so, anyway, I do the narration, and I have a very small part in it. I open and close the program, and then Ann, as Fanny Crosby, presents the story.
All right. Now, Ann, obviously, you guys did some research on this and so forth, and when you make your presentation, you must discuss about how Fanny went from childhood to adulthood and the blindness situation, and you feature some hymns as well, right?
Yes, we do. Actually, I portray Fanny at about 85 years old, and she then reminisces through her life and shares the accounts that come to mind. But one of those is that she reports that she was blind through illness at the age of 6 weeks, and then she was brought up by her mother and her grandmother, her father having died when she was very young. And she also had an interesting point for this area, is that her stepfather, Thomas Morris, was involved with the Mormons in the early days, and so eventually he came out to Salt Lake, and he would have come right through this area on the Mormon Trail. So there are so many connections that we have with Fanny, and we try to connect her with the area that we're visiting, and we're very honored to be here and to be on this program today. This is the first time for a radio interview. So yes, the costuming is patterned after period, is on period patterns, and the overall tone of it helps us in the understanding of the 19th century and into the early 20th century. And Fanny was very active in the life in her community, and also knew many famous people, because they all wanted to come to the new Institute for the Blind, which is what she attended starting at age 15 in 1835.
Okay. Once again, this program is going to be over at the Gering United Methodist Church, 9:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. And if it sounds like a wonderful program, it's absolutely free. So just head on over there at the proper time, 9:30 Sunday, and I think you'll be very pleased with what you see, and you'll be very entertained.
Afterwards.
Oh, and there's a picnic afterwards. Okay, there's a picnic afterwards. I didn't know about that. Okay, but there is a picnic afterwards, and so I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yes, we'd love to see everybody come.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.
Oh, thank you for having us.